You're listening to the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio podcast, brought to you from St. Bart in the French West Indies. We talk Jiu Jitsu, traveling, and people who do things a bit different in life. I am your host, Christian Graugard. Welcome to episode 8 of the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio podcast. For this episode, I am going to run a little interview I did with a guy who came to visit me here in St. Bart for training. His name is Raymond. He's working on cruise ships and has been doing that for 18 years. He's been sailing all around the world and always bringing his gi, trying to find places to train. I think it was a really interesting story he had, and I brought my little microphone with me when I went to pick him up at the harbor and train with him during the day. I often get questions from people about how can you afford to travel a lot to train, and how do you not have a job so you can just do nothing but fly around the world and train jiu-jitsu. And obviously there are many solutions to this. Some easier than others, but one would be to find a job that includes traveling, where traveling is part of the job. And I think this is working on a cruise ship is definitely one of these. And I think it was very interesting. I don't know much about cruise ships myself. I've never been on one until actually just a few weeks after Raymond was there. But I never really thought about that option for traveling. So maybe that's something to consider if you're looking for a way to get around the world and get to train in a lot of different places. But anyhow, let's run the interview, and then I'll get back to you immediately as it's over. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. I'm on my way to town to pick up a guy who works on a cruise ship that's just docked here in St. Bart. So I'm gonna see if I can find him. Apparently he's been working on cruise ships for a while. He was supposed to come here a few weeks ago, but the waves were too high, so they couldn't get to shore. So he's here again. And he wants to train jiu-jitsu. So I always think it's really nice to have some visitors on the island, because we don't have a lot of people to train with here. So whenever someone who trains jiu-jitsu is on the island, I always try to make time for them. So it's Wednesday, 11 a.m. and I just got in my car. I actually said I would pick him up at 10:45, but as always, I'm a little bit late. I'm getting really accustomed to the Caribbean time here. So I'm just driving down the hill from where I live, and I'm picking him up by the ferry. It's around 5 minutes from here, the little town, Gustavia. So I was kind of curious about this guy since... just getting my car out of here. I was pretty curious about this guy. I don't know much about it, but I thought it'd be interesting to bring my little microphone and have a chat with him and see if it was worth a podcast episode, his story. So apparently he's been sailing around for 18 years, been doing jiu-jitsu for 6 years, I think he told me, and always try to find a place to train wherever he goes. So now he's in St. Bart, and we don't have a lot of sparring partners here, so... I am very glad to have someone on the mat, so I'll be happy to take him to the gym and go a few rounds. Perhaps some of the local guys will show up as well. We'll see. I am now entering the town of Gustavia. I can actually see a big cruise ship out there anchored. So I assume that's his. So I hope he's going to be here. Just need to find some parking. It's another beautiful day, end of February. I can't believe it's already been 2 months into this year. There are no seasons here and no change of weather. Time is just weird. 2 months feels like a few weeks because nothing changed. So Okay, I am here by the ferry, and I will find a place to park and see if I can spot this guy. I just need to look for someone with a key. There he is. I see him already. Alright, this gotta be it. I'll go see if that's him. Hey Ray. How's it going, man?
How you doing, man?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Welcome.
Good, thank you, man. You don't mind, to train today?
No, not at all. Get in the Hurricane Mobile.
Awesome,
I'm always happy to have some guests here.
Thanks so much, man. I think I have a few more times that I get you, and I think I have one overnight here, actually.
Okay, oh nice, that's nice. Yeah, it would be nice if you could come visit during one of the evening classes with the locals, because almost everybody are working now, obviously. So I think there might be one or two guys showing up today. It usually depends on whether or not there are waves. So
Okay, cool. No problem.
if the waves are too good, they're not doing jiu-jitsu.
Waves before BJJ.
Yeah, exactly. That could be a good T-shirt, actually.
Yeah. I understand.
The podcast is kind of a new project, but I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it gives me an excuse to just ask people about their story and stuff. So
No, man. If I tell you my little story about what you did for me, you will not believe. But before I spoke to you a couple of weeks back,
yeah,
I was very unhappy and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't in the right place. And then when I met you, I went online and after we spoke, and I went to the on your site.
right. Oh, you said we didn't meet before, right?
Well, online kind
Okay,
of, and I
okay.
listened to your story, and you were like, we were trying to hook up, but I couldn't hook up with you. So
Right.
you said to me, go listen to my I have a podcast series. So I went to go listen to your podcast series.
Right.
And then I watched the one where you were entrepreneur, about the entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
entrepreneurship. Man, you changed my life completely, bro.
Oh, shit.
Because I swear to you, man, what you told me, that when I listened to that thing about how if you want to be an entrepreneur, you go get the books and everything, and
Yeah.
you start to study, you can do it, success is planned and all this. So I said, F it, I'm going to do it. I started to do it, man. I changed my ways. I started to listen to all your ideas. I got like 6 books that I'm reading at the moment.
Nice.
I listen to entrepreneur podcasts every day. You're like a mentor to me, because you do BJJ, you do all the cool stuff, you live a great life, and you're an entrepreneur. So in all fact, you are everything that a person that I was trying to look for in my life, to find a drive or something to go towards. And I just want to thank you, man. Even though
Oh my God,
silently you didn't know any of this.
The expectations are so high now.
No, but
I might be a douchebag.
Nah, never, bro. Anyway,
Right.
but you understand where I'm coming at. It like
We're rolling in like 10 minutes, and I might be an absolute idiot on that. Just
haven't
like
rolled.
neon face.
I haven't rolled in so long, so 4 weeks. I don't even know if I can.
Neon face kind of retard black belt.
Yeah, so
I'll take it all back.
No, it's something that really.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, it's like I just sit in my basement and record that stuff, and I can see there's been quite many listeners, and it's like a new project, but you never kind of know. You know, it's nice to just meet someone random. It's like when I wrote that book,
Yeah.
I was just sitting at home writing it for myself, pretty much. You know? No, but like.
And then just
And then suddenly you meet someone who actually read it, and I was like, oh, whoa, wait, did someone read that? Let's see. So we're right here. So you must have been seeing a lot of the Caribbean, huh?
Yeah.
You go. How many? Is it like a week
So what
circle thing
depends.
you do? Or?
Some of the cruises are normally 7 days. So
Yeah.
they pick up guests like in Fort Lauderdale, and they'll go to San Juan
Mm.
and all these beautiful Caribbean ports, and land up back at the same place, drop them off, do it again and again and again
Yeah.
during a couple of months. And then after a while, they'll change the itinerary, which will be maybe the embarkation port will be Barcelona, pick up a few people, maybe do a 10-day cruise. It all varies ship to ship and the size of the ships. Some ships do the same place continuously the whole year round.
Yeah.
Like Disney, they just stay at one place.
Yeah.
And they do the same cruising always. I've done this for 18 years.
Damn.
I've been all over the world.
How old are you?
I am 38.
38 from
Yes,
South Africa.
Yeah, from South Africa, Cape Town. I started at 21 when I was back in South Africa. Getting naughty, needed to get away from all the troubles that I was doing, so I decided to get on work at
Getting
sea.
naughty.
Yeah, I was doing bad things.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I had to escape. And the easiest way was, get out, get at sea, and it was a great thing, man.
He's sleeping. That's nice. Okay, let's hear more about that.
Yeah, we can,
let's get in the gym and
no worries.
see if we can get a few rolls in. Bonjour, monsieur. Get off Facebook and on the mats.
No, Facebook.
Okay. Good, and you? This is Eric. He's one of the locals.
Hello.
All right, so here we are. Where did I put the keys?
So I did a bit of research, and I see you guys have acai here.
We do?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Tom's Juice
Tom's Juice Bar is new owners. I don't know if they still have it. But.
Okay, because I was looking online and it looks like
We can find it. No waves today?
Maybe this afternoon. Late afternoon.
I need to get out there. I've been so busy working after the camp.
There were a bunch of kids here, like 30 kids.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna roll in this one.
Finally, you can submit someone.
Yeah.
I'll have to kill the captain.
Well, usually it's like this. It's just us, we're just a few, but we had 50 people here for the camp, so it was very nice. Really busy, but
You don't have a Globetrotters on actual Facebook in the maps area too. So when you when you tag where you are in the area, you can put like BJJ Globetrotters. It's not in there, so you should try and add it so that you can.
yeah, but we're global.
Okay, yeah, no, I know you are. I just wanted to put it there.
Well, we don't. I mean,
I definitely know.
you're looking at the HQ right now. It's kind of moving around a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "You gotta Globetrotters."
All right, let me put on some music. Roll first, talk later. Wow. So, what's your schedule today?
Me? I'm here till 3:34.
Okay.
So I can.
And what do you come? You come here every 2 weeks, or?
Yeah, it depends. I think we have a few more times, and then
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. I'll send the itinerary to you. And then
Yeah. How many people on the ship?
on this ship, it's small. We have 200 crew and like 250 guests. But I've worked on ships where there's 4,000.
I think the one I booked is like 4,000 people. It's
So you're on
ridiculous.
the big one. 4,000 guests and like 1,200 crew, and it's hectic.
Factory.
Eh?
Factory.
Yeah, it's like a huge moving hotel. No, you rejected me.
So here in the island, we only go like competition sparring with points.
Okay.
So I'll be counting. Poor Ray, we're just taking turns on him here. He looks tired. It's a boat cardio versus island cardio.
But I tell you, man, when you travel and you train at all different clubs, it's unbelievable because, like from today, I just learned from you that passing the guard technique, and I'll remember that forever. In St. Kitts, there was one move he taught me I'll never forget. So every club that I go to, I always find one move that gym teaches, and I always remember it because I think of that gym.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really amazing. And some gyms do crazy things. Some people are thinking out the box. Some people are like Brazil. Wow. Nearly vomited when I went to Brazil. We had to stop. It was just too much.
Yeah.
It's like the small dojo I went to. all smelly, sweaty, and damp, and just pick each other up, run across the room, drop each other, pick up weights, run there, do this, hit here, run there, do this, drill. After 30 minutes, you're like, and then
And it's humid and warm.
yeah.
It's way warmer than
Always
here.
like that in the Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil.
It depends on the club, but the one I went to, they were just hard.
I remember.
I spent 3 years in Australia, and I tried out the Jiu Jitsu. So I tried two courses. There was a Brazilian teacher, and they have a lot of Brazilian and Lebanese guys.
Yes.
I think, you know, when the first time I walk out, I was like thinking about, okay, they don't want me here. No, for sure. You know, they don't even take. I mean, not even nice, not even high.
It's because you knew.
I want to drink water. No, you're not allowed to drink.
What?
I say, okay, I'm not at school. I want to drink and drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's first time here for me here. I'm not going to die on the mat.
You can't drink, by the way. It's going to be $100.
Yeah, that's what happened with me when I had
And
like a rule.
I find them quite rude. But
Yeah.
after that was. This is probably why I take so much time to get back to Jiu-Jitsu, because
Don't let
was
it hold
thinking
you back.
about if everyone is like this.
No,
it's
don't,
different.
man. I've been all over the world. 99%, everybody is welcoming.
Yeah,
it's a
yes,
family.
yeah, sure.
They walk you
A long
in,
time
arms
ago.
open, you know. But you get the odd few. Just ignore.
Yeah, or maybe they don't like the French.
No, they just money mad.
We beat them in final in World Cup, so they don't like us.
Some people are attracted to that. You know. They want to be, you know, submissive.
It's terrible, man. I had a guy who wanted $100 for me for 1 week, one lesson. I said, are you mad? It's a guy in Texas. So I said, sure.
I mean, I've run into a few academies like that, but it's like, it must attract some people, otherwise they can't exist. You know, some people are attracted by being, you know, like put down.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of
Maybe,
the same if you love to sign up for the army or something, and they just kind of
Like the
bully you and beat you and break you down, and you
until
that's what you want.
become the beater. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't like that.
I can't do it.
I've trained many places, and most of them are very, very nice, helpful. And I give the same respect back to them. I always offer gyms and accommodation, everything in South Africa, because I want people to come there. It's a beautiful country. We have good training sessions there. We have Atos, we have Gracie's.
Did you grow up in South Africa?
Yeah, I grew up 36 years in Johannesburg, South Africa. Then I moved to Cape Town for 2 years now. I've been there. I'm half Lebanese, half Jewish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What a mix, eh? My mom and dad, when they were young, they weren't allowed to be together. So they like ran away from their families so they could be together because they were enemies, you know, Arabs and
Yeah.
Israelis. So then my mom and dad went to Israel to immigrate there because it was a better benefit for them compared to South Africa's pension. And they went there, and then I went there, and I met some guys, started doing Jiu Jitsu there, learned from there. That's when I actually got into it. And from that day, I was like, loved it, man. In Israel, I was training morning and evening, and I was training with black belts, purple belts, brown belts, and I was the only white. And they would train with me in the mornings. I was getting smashed, but it was so fun. And then after that, I went back to Johannesburg, trained there at a club called Tap Out. Got my blue belt there, and then from there, went on the ships.
So that's
And
where
I've
you
been
train that's where you train when you're home? Or?
Yeah, and when I'm home now, I'm training at Atos. Andrew Gaval comes to grade us, but he hasn't been there, so I always miss it. But I was there, he was there once, and I rolled with him. It was awesome. I've rolled with him, I've rolled with Roberto Cyborg, and that's about it, those two. Because in Israel, Roberto came there for a seminar. And in Israel, I did like 4 tournaments. Brazil, I did 1. South Africa, I've done like 6. But you learn from tournaments. It's so different. You get in a tournament, first 5 minutes you're dead. It's nothing like when you roll in and then you learn over time. I learned over time in tournaments. You've got to get in there. Just relax. Just let this flow. Just don't even think about it. Just, you know. And I started to do that, and then I started winning. And then I started realizing it's not just getting there. Because you're tense and excited. And so that's why I enjoy competitions. It teaches you how to control your stamina and your strength.
How did you end up with your boat life?
I was
How did you make that decision?
I was one day sitting with my mom and dad in there. They had a business, a cobbler shop in Westgate Shopping Centre in Johannesburg. And I was very, in a bad environment, drugs, doing naughty things. I was like 21, 22. And then I sat there against the wall. I'll never forget reading this newspaper, and this article was there: work on cruise ships. Call this number, and I was like, hell, maybe just give it a bash. Called the number, got an interview, got the job as an assistant waiter on Royal Caribbean. Got the job, went on board in 2001. For 4 months, I was an assistant waiter. It was terrible, terrible work, hard labor. Then I got promoted to a waiter for 2 more months, and then it was time for me to go home. But instead of going home, I decided to change position to go to broadcast. So I had to stay an extra 2 months. So I accepted.
What's broadcast?
Eh?
What's that?
Broadcast. It's like a TV studio on the ship. So I control all the TV channels. I do all the filming, all the editing,
like the
all
pay-per-view
audio,
porn.
Yeah, all the video, audio, satellites. I do everything broadcast, media, everything that you know. And I just stayed there ever since. I worked there for 5 years on Royal, 5 years on Regent, 4 years on Disney, 3 years on Princess, and now on the Silver Seas. Been there a year. So
Where did you sail?
Everywhere. I've been everywhere. It's Caribbean, Mexico, Europe, Brazil, North America, you name it, everywhere. Only Antarctica I haven't been, and some inland places because the ships don't go there, obviously. But yeah, everywhere. Even Hong Kong, all the places.
Did you sail all the way to Hong Kong, or?
Yeah, the ship normally does the crossing. It's like 8 sea days. Hectic. 8 long sea days or whatever. And you're just at sea.
From where? From like Panama? Or?
Yeah, wherever it is. Like when you cross from, it depends. If you're from Africa, you just cross the sea, or if it depends where the ship is sailing from or to. And sometimes you do the world cruise, which is like does it in like a certain amount of days, and it just does this whole itinerary. And like sometimes you have overnights, which is cool. Overnight in Greece, overnight in Barcelona, overnight in. I'm having an overnight here. All over you have overnights, and that's when I go look for jits. Always when I have the overnights.
Do you manage to find something most places? Or?
Always. Most of the places I always do. It's the quiet, small places I don't. But like Colombia, I had overnight there. I went to some place there. Most of the places, even in St. Martin. But every time I get there...
Did you train with Melissa?
She had Melissa, right? Yeah, she's the one who messages me. But whenever I want to go, it's flipping kickboxing. So I'm just like, I don't want to do kickboxing. So I don't do it. So,
How is living on a boat for 18 years? I cannot imagine.
No, it's not fully 8 years. It's like you go on for 4 months, you go off for 2. You work for 4, you work for 2. You work for 4, sometimes you work for 3 or 5, and you're off for 2 or 3. It all depends on the schedule.
So do you, when you're off those months, do you do anything? Or?
Yeah, I go home and then I spend time with my daughter, and I do Jiu Jitsu and hang around with friends, do some extra work, and do my own little things at home. And then when it's time to go, I go back again.
So you have kids?
Yeah, I just have a 4-year-old daughter. Her name's Yasmin, and took her to Jiu Jitsu at the age of 4. I got her dressed in a little kimono doing forward rolls. It's so cute, man. I just couldn't believe it.
How is that sailing away from your daughter for 4 months?
Terrible, man. The worst feeling in the world. But it's for a better cause. The money on the ships is amazing. I'll never make this back at home.
Okay, so it's a good.
Yeah,
pay.
you make whatever I make in my country times 3 on the ship.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're off the boat, you don't have to work. Or?
No, because if I'm saving the money, I have a lot of money. And,
do you spend any money on the ship? Or?
No, you don't need to actually, because you get food for free, accommodation's free, your food's free, your laundry's free, and I mean, when you eat, it's a buffet. You get all the fruits, all the salads, all the meats, proteins, all the desserts, all the drinks, all the coffees. Always. They have to give it to you and they have to give variety because some people are vegans, some people eat differently. So they have to take care of everyone. So the food's not an issue. Your cabin gets cleaned if you're an officer. You get benefits. Certain officers can use certain lounges, can eat in certain places, get coffee certain places. But if you crew, not so good. You can't go anywhere. You have a share cabin, 2 to 4 people
shoveling
in the cabin.
coal all day.
Yeah, can you
Setting
imagine?
sail.
4 people in one little box like this.
Yeah.
2 people on top, 2 on top and 2 on bottom, and you share one toilet. Man, I walked in there. I was like, no way, man. It's hectic. But they make in their country.
Yeah, for the country.
It's impossible to make the money.
A lot of from people from Madagascar.
It's Philippines, Indian. Philippines and Indians are because they're the cheap labor.
Sure.
Like if they get $10, they can buy a house. Just exaggerated, but
That's a pretty good deal.
they make good money on the ships, so that's why they're the easiest to hire.
Yeah.
Us, on the other hand, they got to pay us, and we'll do the high job, like human resources, hotel directors, cruise directors, all the high positions, and these are officers. We get our own little place to eat, and some ships are different to others. Like Princess, for example, you go in, you get the menu, you can order off the menu, and you get served your dinner. Unbelievable. You can order wine, you can have beer, whatever.
Is that
you want.
where you're at now?
No, I was before. Now this one is, I eat in the officer area, but we don't get served. We go dish ourselves up in a buffet. But on the other, yeah, but still the buffet is a buffet, man. It's like,
What? No waiters?
Yeah,
Wait, no waiters for waiters?
but you got to take your own plate, of course. No,
And you have to wash it?
no, that's asking too much now.
So what ship are you on right now?
I'm on Silver Seas, the Silver Seas, and the ship's name is the Wind, the smallest and the oldest of them all, and it's like looks like it's falling apart. But yeah,
I think I saw it out there today.
yeah,
from
that's the one.
car.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a small one.
yeah.
Small
it's-
white one.
I've requested not to go back to it because the small ships are not good for me because now I have to share a cabin because there's not enough room. My other bigger ships I don't share. And yeah, the ship is so old, it's like rusted and it's falling apart. And the newer ships are decent, they go well, everything's good, nothing's breaking. Yeah, everything's like running on thread.
Did you ever get caught in like really bad weather? Or?
Yeah, I've had many experiences. Shaky seas, rough seas, things are falling and breaking everywhere. You walk in and you're trying to go straight, but you're hitting the wall on that side.
horrible.
But I remember one New Year's, just 5 minutes to New Year, we're all in the crew bar, we're all partying, everyone's drunk, and you hear assessment party, report to deck 5, aft, zone 3, whatever, boom, boom, boom. We're like, what? Because that means they've got to go assess this, something's going on, a fire or something. So all the crew are continuing their party, we all party, and then we hear the alarm going. One long blast, we have to go to our crew alert station. So like, what the fuck's going on? Everyone's drunk, people are carrying bottles of booze with them to their muster station. We all get to our stations, everyone's pissed, we're all laughing, but you know, it's serious. There was somebody flicked a cigarette and it flew behind the ship into the back where the propane tanks were, and a fire started. So the safety officer,
Before you knew it.
yeah, we were listening on the walkie-talkies and listening to, they're fighting the fire, they're fighting the fire. I'm like, oh shit, this is serious. And then 10 minutes later or something, they fought the fire, they killed the fire. The drill was over, and the next day we docked the ship and we all went to look at the back of the ship, just black, all burnt. Luckily the propane tanks didn't blow up or anything because we would have been at the bottom of the ocean. So yeah, and sometimes they have dry dock, where the ship goes into a dry dock where they have to fix the ship. No AC, no toilets, it's a dump. You've got to sleep where people sleep on the outer decks. There's paper, there's dirt, dust, people drilling. It's a dump. So I don't recommend that crew members. Yeah.
So you have some mats on the ship.
Yeah, when I get on board, I go out and I order online, or I order from Amazon if I'm in a US port and they get delivered. I actually ordered those flexi mats that you had on my one ship, and then I bring them on board and I hide them somewhere. And then I go around the ship looking for Brazilians because they all got name tags in the country. So I'm like, hey, you do jiu-jitsu?
They do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I swear to you, bro, every single one.
one.
Hey, do you do jiu-jitsu? Even if it's a Japanese guy, hey, do you do jiu-jitsu? And then I look at their ears and I look at their name badges and I'm like, damn.
Just
I'm
look for like tap out singlets.
Yeah. And some of them are like, no, I don't do jiu-jitsu. I'm like, but man, you're from Brazil. What's your problem? Blah, 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 blah. So eventually but I don't find Brazilians. So I found an Italian guy who was just wanted to learn. And every night at 10:30, he would come up, we'd set up the mats, we'd do the normal drills, technique, and he would train with me every day for months. And then after like 3 months, he was so good, I actually had a problem rolling with him because he knew all my moves, everything that I knew. So I couldn't get him because he knew every counter for me. So it was good. And then he left. Then I found a girl from Brazil. She came along and she rolled with me. Then she left. And then I found another guy. And sometimes when I'm rolling, guests would walk past the guest area and they'd see me doing jiu-jitsu. And I had a Nagi guy come. And he would come every night in his 7-day cruise. He would come and just roll with me, him and his dad. And then sometimes on another ship, I had a Gracie guy from my other club, saw me rolling. He rolled with me, and then he'd give me a shirt or something. So there's always possibilities. You just got to open up to let them see. And on this one, I bought 6 of them, big mats, carrying them in the street. Man, I look like, I don't know. Got on board, people like looking at me, what the hell is this guy doing? got upstairs and I hid them in the AC engine room because there's nowhere to train. And they're underneath this engine area. So when we train, we get the key, we unlock this huge bulk door, we pull it open, we get in, everything's green, and there's AC, there's metal pipes everywhere. And then I set up the mats, and we do little circle, like drills, like we run in little circles. We do knees, we do touch our bums, we do shrimps, all that in this little area. And then when the ship shakes, it's a bit rocky, it's a bit dangerous because you can hit into one of these metal pieces or something. But anyway, we got the hang of it. And we rolled in, and then when we're done, we pack it away, and then I take on board with me like 3-4 kimonos. And when I find somebody, I just dish them out, and I let them keep them, and then when they leave, They give it back to me. Dedicated, man. I love it too much.
That's pretty good. So where are you sailing right now?
So now we sailing just the Caribbean, and then we do our embarkation port is San Juan, and then we pick up San Juan, we drop off, and then we do that 1 or 2 more times, and then we have 7-8 sea days, and we're crossing over to Barcelona.
Is it? There's only one place where you can embark, right? On a cruise,
one place when you embark where they come on and off.
Because I was looking at, I was trying to find. We were just thinking of going somewhere, and with little kids, you don't want like to have connecting flights and stuff. It was like Miami. Like Florida is kind of the same as here, just with bigger roads. Yeah,
Florida, they've got like, I'm not lying to you, 10, 20 cruise ships all in there's thousands.
But we found one from Guadeloupe. But I was looking at something from St. Martin, but I couldn't find anything.
No, there won't be.
I think...
you'd have to fly to San Juan or Fort Lauderdale or...
Guadeloupe. That's where we go.
Yeah, or you go. But what you do is you go there for like a day or two and you holiday there a bit, and then you get on the ship. Yeah. Or you get straight on the ship, and when you come back, you holiday a little bit before you go back.
Think the timing is perfect because the flight from here to Guadeloupe lands like 5 hours before the boat departs, so it was like perfect.
And from the Guadeloupe is a road trip?
Yeah, round trip, 7 days. You get back to Guadeloupe, and we fly here. It's 45 minutes.
Awesome. Yeah. When you get on the ship, you're going to go there, they're going to welcome you with smiles and all this happy look, and deep down they're like, another, it's like for them it's like a repetition, it's another cruise.
So, and as you say, I just walk right in and say, I'm going to review you. I'm going to write reviews on Google.
Not like that.
I'm going to wear a t-shirt with like Yelp, TripAdvisor, TripAdvisor senior reviewer. I'm going to put on that t-shirt.
I don't know if I should tell you, but they send out emails to like most of the people on the ship. This guest is very complained, so please be aware. So like they send emails out to people to be aware of these kind of things. But no, all you're going to do is just get on.
I'm going to be super obnoxious.
Just make sure you are very blunt and sure about how you are with your things, and everything will be fine. They'll remember your name. They'll give you the correct food you want. If you complain about your food, they'll make sure the food that you get is correct. If you're not happy with your cabin, complain. They will try to accommodate.
Just be French.
Yeah, just be French. You're 100% right, bro. Just be French.
I'm practicing here.
You have to get it, bro.
You'll get it, bro. You'll get it.
I had a year and a half of practice in French.
That's true.
Just a little bit of French arrogance.
Yeah. It's you get room service. It's good times, bro. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, I just wanted to try something different. I haven't actually been sailing ever.
I just hope you don't.
I thought it would be like a new kind of. Well, I've been on boats, but never something like this. So,
yeah, you might
expand my horizon a little bit.
Yeah, they'll give you if you get seasick, they'll give you these stickers that you put at the back of your ears. I don't know how that helps you balance. But if you get seasick, you put these things on your ears, or you get the ones you put on your wrist. It's got like a button, and it's like push pressure on your vein. I don't know what it does. Or just eat a green apple, helps with your metabolism or whatever. It helps to stabilize when you're seasickness.
Well, man, on those big boats, you have seasick.
Yes, of course, of course, man.
Okay.
Rough seas, that ship, they have stabilizers, but it's still, it still rocks.
I never see, so
it's
I
like
don't know, but I imagine that.
It's like you're drunk and you don't have to drink. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like. You're walking, you're looking straight ahead, but your body's just going like this, swaying from side to side, and you're like trying so hard to go straight. Like sometimes you aim for the door, you walk in, all of a sudden you hit the wall. You're like, what? Because the boom. It's dangerous sometimes, but you get used to it, sea legs.
How long are you going to keep doing this?
One more, I think. I've got a plan because of you. You've changed my whole life. Yeah, man.
the podcast.
Yeah, your podcast changed. But, hey, man, I don't know. It just, that moment, it just happens in a split second. That's what happened, man. It happened for me in a split second. When I heard your podcast, it just changed my whole perspective to life, and I started to pursue entrepreneurship now, man. So
if you got 18 years on chips, you got a lot of experience.
Yeah,
there is definitely a niche there.
So I'm going to do this crew thing, but I'm also doing many things. I'm also doing kimonos. I see you also do them, but I'm going to try to do from import from Alibaba, and then do it in my country a few. Yeah. So I'm trying to do multiple things, because as you said, your thing just struck me so right. Like if you have one person who controls your life and your job, and in one day he just says, "Cheers, man, you're gone." That just opened up my eyes. I was like, man, I'd rather have multiple things where it doesn't matter.
That's not financial security.
Yeah, you're 100% right, man. I have no regret, but I wish this happened to me many years ago. But it's not too late, as you said, to plant your tree. So, see, man, I don't know, man. Then I started reading books.
That's good.
Those were my books, bro.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Richard Branson.
That's a bit. I'm enjoying it, but it's a bit too much story. It's not getting me.
Did you read the first one?
The Content Inc. Yeah.
No. The Branson.
Yeah, I'm halfway into that.
No, this is the second one, right?
I don't know.
No, that's the first one. Losing My Virginity. Right?
That's the one where.
The other one is Finding. Yeah, that's the first one. I love that one.
Yeah, I'm busy halfway. It's telling his stories when he was a kid, and he.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's a good book.
Yeah.
I'll recommend you some more.
Yeah, it'd be great, man.
I got my book list here. I'll send you some recommendations.
Yeah.
So how many places do you think you trained, like on the boat?
So many, man. Sometimes I just forget so many of them, man. It's like a non-stop. I just search and search. So here's the itinerary. So we are March. So I'll be going to Spanish Town, Castries, Granada, Bridgetown, Maria, Guadalupe, Satira, St. John, all these places. Castries, Charleston. San Juan, St. Petersburg.
So when are you going to be back here?
So for here, I will be back in 16th of March.
It says Gustavia, Guadalupe.
Yeah,
right?
8 to 10. 16th of March, and that's to 10.
That's in 2 weeks.
That's great. And then you'll be gone on 1st of April, so I might miss you. And then the overnight is 20th March to 21. So you'll be here. I don't sound like a fish bag.
No, I don't. I'm like an absolute kind of... I only surfed a little bit on like holidays and here a little bit when I have time, but as you said, like here I'm just like a white belt training only with like 20-year black belts, in the water. I'm like, I think I'm all right now, but I feel like an absolute fucking noob, because these guys are all been doing it all their lives, so. I only feel like I can surf. It's like, when you roll and everybody's so good, you only feel like you know anything when you have like new people coming in.
Yes.
Then suddenly you're like, shit, I can actually pull this off. In everyday training, you just can't do anything. So that's how I feel about surfing here. So
okay, cool. So Jiu-Jitsu boy.
Hey, I did Jiu Jitsu for 20 years and just like surfed a little bit on holidays. So that's it.
I'll live and do Jiu-Jitsu till my knees pack out. I'll never stop if ever that happens.
You gotta think long term about your health with Jiu-Jitsu. It's super important. I've seen way too many people just ruin it because they're too eager or they have an unhealthy style.
Meaning stretching or eat-wise, food-wise? Food-wise, I'm always trying to keep healthy, always. It's just part of my regimen. I have to always try to eat well. On occasions, I have bad stuff, but that's just life. But I cut down on all that.
I think more like approach to training and rolling. I think for me, I had many years where I was like constantly injured. Like I had every single injury you can imagine. I had everything, every joint, back, neck, every shoulder, all elbows, fingers, hands, knees, everything. Because I pretty much trained competed and was teaching jiu-jitsu full time for more than 10 years. Like I did nothing else. That was all I did. Before I didn't have kids, nothing, no job. I was just doing jiu-jitsu, nothing else. And like we built up a really good gym. I had it for 15 years, and we trained with the guys I know really well. I'll train really hard, like really competitive. With people I just meet, or I don't, I do a completely different style, more like kind of counter boxing, like
I noticed.
Just kind of. I approach it more like surfing, you know. There's a wave coming, and I see if I can keep my balance and maybe do a few tricks.
But that's really.
I'm not gonna fight the wave.
But it was really nice. Sometimes it's a.
I just kind of, you know, it's more like Jiu Jitsu kind of came full circle for me in some weird sense, because in the beginning, when I was like 18, I wanted to learn how to fight, you know, fight someone. Then I realized I'm never going to fight anyone unless I look for a fight, which would be kind of stupid. So then it became a sport, you know, because then you can actually fight without, you know, being an idiot. So there was like sport jiu-jitsu and MMA and like Muay Thai and all that. And then it was a sport for many years, and then it became more like a teaching thing. I was more teaching jiu-jitsu, and now it's just like fitness. You know? It's the only hobby, physical activity I know that can really keep me interested. And my approach is like way off competition or anything. It's more like an art now. You know? Like an art. It's a gentle art now. Yeah. It's kind of cheesy to say, but jiu-jitsu has become the gentle art for me again, because it's the art of using it's like I try to make it look like Aikido sometimes. You know? I try to be super relaxed and use absolute minimum power and still take people down, or still not get swept or submitted or passing, you know, and just be like absolute like full on Steven Seagal. Sometimes standing up, you know, just relax.
I saw how you rolled.
They comfort and you just kind of, if I can just it's then it becomes an art form. If you can make people fall without like fucking power double like them, you know. So I think that's the interesting thing for me now, and then it's great fitness. But what was my point? Where did I come from with this?
Yeah, but you roll very strategically. I noticed you just take it slow.
But I'll go different with people I know really.
Yeah.
Like from like the purple, brown, black belts from home. We would go like full on fight to the death sometimes. But what I was saying about thinking long term about jiu-jitsu is walking in sandals all year long fucks up my feet. I was injured all the time because I had these long periods of training really hard and competing, and you know, even if I'm not competing, people train with me super hard for competitions, and then I realized at some point I was out with injury for like a year and a half. I was just sitting on the mat every single day teaching, coaching, like watching people roll, going to competitions, but I couldn't do anything myself, not even drilling or showing techniques sometimes, for a year and a half. And I was like, fuck, this can't be right. I was like 30 or something. You know when they always say when you turn 30, that's when the injuries come? The weekend I turned 30, I got super injured, and I was out for a year and a half. I was like, this can't be right. This can't be right. Well, slip disc in my back. Anyway. Shit. And then I looked back and I realized that every single major injury I had, every single one, no exceptions, came from pushing myself to the limit, you know, to close to 100% or a little bit more than 100%. And then I guess, you know, an injury by definition is your body reaching the limit and going above the limit, and it'll say like, okay, stop. This part of your body is going to be, what do you say, inflamed for a while, so you don't move it. Like that's what your body tells you, because you went too far. And then I was like, shit, every single thing, every single major knee injury, like back injury, neck injury, everything, shoulder, was because I just pushed myself too far. And so I made a decision of going just like, everything I do is like 80%, never more than 80%. That's the maximum. So if I could roll 100% intensity, I would go 80. Or usually I would go like 30, 40 with people I don't know. Or if I can train 5 days a week, I'll train 3. If I can go 10 rounds, I'll go 8. Okay. If I can do 10 pull-ups, I'll do 7. No, I'll never go more. Never ever. And you know what? Not a single injury since I was 32. So it was like almost 4 years of not a single injury. Nothing. And before that, I was like struggling and like constantly physiotherapy and like rehab, like non-stop rehab for years. I was always rehabbing. I owned a CrossFit gym for like 6 years. I never did a single CrossFit lesson. I just did rehab. I just did the rubber bands. That's all I did. I put in like so much money and time in building it. I had like 15 people working there. I just did the rubber bands. Oh, no, that's all I did. And like some balls, that was it. And then I just said, okay, if I have energy for like half an hour of rolling and half an hour of lifting weights, I'll just roll for 25 minutes and not do anything more. I stop lifting weights because that's by definition going to my limit. You know, like that's what you do. You push your body close to the limit. And 4 years, not a single injury. I have sprained my finger at the moment. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else
I
hurts.
think I'm going to take
It's
that into
amazing.
account. Thanks.
It's like the best advice, the best thing I ever did for jiu-jitsu. I really hope. But, when you're 22, you train every day for 4 or 5 hours. You don't think about that.
Just what, 22, when was that? That's so long ago.
That's a while ago, yeah. And you recover, like, overnight, like that, But that's what I did, and I had no injury since. So that's why, and especially, I go to the camps almost every month. And every camp, everybody wants to roll with me. I want to roll with everyone. So, like, for a week-long camp, I'll roll with 100 people or more, And if I went hard on them, like competitive, I would die.
Yeah,
I would die, Even I can handle myself technically, but just pure, like, physical exhaustion from rolling with so many people, it's impossible. I'm going to push some part of my body way too hard.
Break.
So at the camps, I go, like, full Bruce Lee, be like water, Steven Seagal, kind of. See if I can justify myself with a hand in the face and nothing else.
Stay there.
Yeah.
Don't move.
See if I can wrestle them with, like, look like an Aikido master, Grab the elbow and they fall. Even if it doesn't work, I aim for it, I aim for it to look like,
It's awesome,
like
man.
Grandmaster. In reality, it's just because I can't possibly do. If I went competitive, like I would do in my gym in Copenhagen, I would do 5 rounds and I'm done.
That's it, yeah.
4 or 5 and that's it. I would be coughing my lungs out. There would be nothing left.
Excellent.
So I kind of developed like I think that started when I was traveling. I'm not sure if you have or will kind of experience the same. But when I traveled and I rolled in a new gym every day for 5 months, you have to kind of go easy.
Yeah.
You have to relax and let them play, and you kind of feel their game, and you try to keep your balance.
Yeah, that's hard sometimes because when I travel and then I go to new gyms, I see a newcomer, and then you get the guys that want to, here comes a new guy, let's see how good he really is, or let's push him, and you get the one guy. There's always that one guy who comes along and uses all his power and all his tactics or whatever just to get you, and he uses so much strength on you that you actually have to fight his game to get through, and that's when you know.
I've met all of them, every single one.
So
You start in Europe, you go east, and I've met everyone there on that route. You know what the trick is? I just tap out to them every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, I just tap. When the round is over, I say thank you and I grab someone else.
Yeah.
I never fight back.
Yeah.
Never. I never fight back. Because if I do that, I can't do 10 more rounds.
Yeah.
I would probably beat them. I don't know. Probably. Unless they're really young and like train a lot. But what does it matter if it costs me like 5 or 10 extra rounds because I have no energy?
I just let them do their thing, and I just get in a ball, and I try to let them do their thing, like what you were doing. And then if I get the opportunity, I'll go for it.
It's an important skill for the traveling jiu-jitsu practitioner.
It's totally different, eh?
Is to kind of dodge,
Yeah.
You're in the water, the big wave comes.
Yeah.
Don't try to ride it. Don't
true,
fight
eh?
it.
Back at home-
Survive.
Back at home, they know the same people, the same faces. They're training with the same
Exactly.
people, so they all know their rhythm. You go travel.
Swim around it,
Yeah.
Just wait for the next one. That's easier. That's more
I gotta
fun.
remember that saying. Wait
Yeah.
for the wave.
Don't take the biggest, most evil wave. Don't try it. Just kind of. Okay, it's gonna trash you around a little bit, but you just let it happen. Get out on the other side and wait for a nicer one that you can play on. Instead of here's the biggest one, I'm gonna fight it. Not let that wave think it's anything.
100%, man. Really, 100%.
I think in the beginning I was different. Rolling when I did that round the world trip for 5 months. In the beginning I was fighting way harder, but it kind of developed. And I try to go as fluent as so it becomes like an art, a gentle art of violence.
Way of life, man.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's more like at least it's an interesting physical because that is what jiu-jitsu is. At the end of at the essence, at the core, it's trying to use as little energy as possible, right?
Yes, yeah,
to
just
control
let-
aggression. So, of course, you need to get to a certain level of competence before you can actually try it. Like I do, I spend
Took you years
I take
to
like
get
a few years of trying to make it look like Aikido. I mean, I can afford to take a few years off for that project, but that's interesting, and that's what I try to do. And it kept me off injuries, and that's the most important. I can train 3 times a week with the guys here, and I stay in good shape. And fuck if you train hard and you get in good shape, but if you're constantly injured for 1 or 2 months, then you get out of shape again.
I don't like to be injured. I rolled a guy. He was a brown belt. He was like 95 kgs. And I don't know what happened, but I think I was rolling him, and I was, making him work for his money, kind of, you know what I mean? And he armbarred me, and I turned, and he stretched me out, and he broke my ribs. My ribs came out.
Broke your ribs from an armbar?
Yeah, from an armbar. And then as he did it, I was so angry. I stood up. I was so angry. I went for him because I But you can see there's a lump here. It's never gone away. My ribs are like out of proportion, forever damaged. 8 weeks I was out, taking pills, couldn't breathe, couldn't cough. It's not worth it.
You fought the big wave, man.
Yeah, man.
You tried to ride it.
He got angry, so he attacked me and he wanted to hurt me. I had another guy also. I said to him, I'm very hard to choke out because I have a strong neck and I don't give up my neck. I know how to control my neck. I don't know how to say or how to... I know my little system that I do. So this guy, he thought, well, okay, this guy wants to act like he can't get tapped out by getting choked. So what does he do? We roll. He gets me. Man, he choked me out so... He literally did it on purpose. He choked me so hard that he nearly broke my esophagus. So I had to go to hospital and get it checked. I couldn't talk properly. It was damaged for months. But, this is not the type of guy. He was just an angry soul, maybe, who didn't have any love at home or something. Well, I don't know, but he just got really angry or tried to prove a point.
Yeah.
But that's not the way I do things. I mean...
Those are the guys you just tap to many times and just take the next one.
Yeah. So,
just take the more fun ride.
Yeah.
That comes up next.
It's a good point. Let go of the wave. Catch the next one. Eh?
Yeah.
It's very good saying that.
Because that's exactly where you get injured. See, you broke a rib and you had to go to hospital.
Yeah, now it's life. It's
just for one
permanent.
round.
It's permanent, man. I can never.
So you think that just because you were trying to fight back on that, imagine how many rounds you lost. You can't do. That's a lot. There's like hundreds for broken rib, and you see so many nice rolls you missed out on for one guy where you wanted to prove a point, or he wanted to prove. You both wanted to prove a point.
Yeah, but I also noticed that it's when you fight bigger guys, that's when the injuries come. I noticed anybody who's heavier than you by 5 to 10 upwards, that's when the injuries start because it's the weight distribution really affects you, I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've noticed. When I fight bigger guys, you have to push harder sometimes. But maybe at my level, not yet. But at your level, you know how to handle the leverage. But
it's a skill.
It's a skill. But I'm not there yet. So at this level, when I fight bigger guys, it's harder for me. And the weight plays a huge part for me. Even though it's Jiu Jitsu is the game of the sport is leverage. But I'm not at that level. So I struggle with the heavy guys. So that's why now I try to avoid heavy guys.
Don't fight so hard.
Yeah.
Just don't fight them so hard.
But then they squash me,
So what? Find your happy place.
They're like on top of me and I'm dying and I can't move.
Big fucking wave is coming. You know it's going to smash you. Right? This is your time to practice being calm underwater.
And then just give it the tap.
You're going to be like this for 10 seconds underwater. And what are you going to do? Are you going to try to get up or are you just going to, find your happy place?
Okay.
Wait till you just float. Wait till you get up. It's the same. The big guys. You don't try to push them up. You try to.
Okay. No. I take yours. I take it all
because
in.
Because what's more important? You try to beat them, but because they're heavy and you get injured, and you lose out on 50 rounds of rolling with more fun rolls.
Yes,
or you practice. Finding your happy place under pressure, like under.
Okay.
Under
give in.
Pressure of gravity. So, with really big guys, I'll just try to see how little energy can I spend on defending myself, on not dying, not drowning.
Okay.
Can I just stay afloat? And then if I want to practice my escapes and my strong frames and my power passes and side control, I'll do that on someone else.
Understand.
So I have like one guy here who's really big, like 120 kilos probably. But I play a completely different game with him, I just see, can I keep him in my guard with minimum energy? And if he's passing, can I stay comfortable under all the pressure? Because he's going to squash me. He's a beginner, But if he puts all the pressure, I'll probably tap just from his weight. So he will provide me with the practice of just, staying calm under pressure. Because that's a separate skill you need in Jiu Jitsu. It's like, you're never going to be able to move always. Like even if it's not necessarily a big guy, but you might feel the same pressure from someone who's just technically good at holding top position, and then you better pull that skill out of your pocket, being calm under pressure,
The plan of
and
action.
not necessarily get out, but just survive.
Yeah, it's
So you got to see every person as a different, you sharpen a different tool on every single person, depending on their game or their size or their mentality. Some are aggressive douchebags.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do? You try to survive and tap out a lot. That's practice too. Tapping out is a very important practice.
Yes.
And then you have the smaller guys. Like with you, it's difficult because I'm physically bigger, but you're really strong and tight, and you move a lot. So I try to relax, but I would still need some little burst of power to open you up.
Yes.
So I can't just,
Yeah.
I can't just like hippie float and find the opening, because there's no opening unless I pull you a little bit. So that's my practice with you is to be relaxed and find a little opening. Just use a very short burst of energy to do something.
I see.
You see, like standing up.
Yes.
I try to just be like almost like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And then find the moment where I can execute the perfectly executed crisp technique of a takedown. Because if I can do it like that, if I then in another situation against someone who's bigger and better and stuff, then I put in all the attributes. If I'm fighting for my life, which I will never do, but or in competition, and then I know if I can do it with 0 power, I can do it with full power. All right.
God,
You have any plans for today?
No, nothing. Just
I gotta get in my basement and work.
I just need to do. How far is this juice place? Tom's Juice is.
Oh, it's in town. I'll show you. It's not called Tom's Juice Bar anymore because they sold it. It's another owner.
But do you think they have? It's by the pier, right? Anyway.
No, I'll show you where it is.
Okay, cool.
We can go there right now. All right, let's lock this place up.
Yeah. Thanks so much, man.
My pleasure. Wait, I just knocked it. My car is one of the most disgusting cars on the island.
Please, man, if I tell you my car, I don't even have a car. I got a flippin' 2001 Fiat. It's like a olden day car. It's a little hatchback at the It's 2001.
We had that hurricane here 5 months ago, and the car just took such a beating. But it's still driving. It was full of broken glass and leaves for a few months, but it got a little bit more character. I feel closer to my car now. It's complete, and having 2 kids is equivalent of at least like a category 4, 3 hurricane. So
Kids are amazing, but crazy at the same time.
So I gave up on having a nice car, a nice clean car. All right, so you're back on the boat at what did you say?
Yeah, 4, but I will go and have some acai and some fruit or whatever, and then I'll just hang around for 20-30 minutes, and then I'll head back and start to go to my office and continue listening to my entrepreneur stuff and continue with my website. Every day I now schedule myself to stuff. I'd rather schedule, and from 8 in the morning until 7 at night I follow a schedule.
How much do you work there?
Nothing.
You don't work?
No, my job's too easy, right?
Okay.
I just push buttons. Like I control the TV, so I make sure everything's playing.
Do you have free access to like the pay-per-view porn thing on the?
No, you have to pay. We don't have it on this ship, but some of the ships you do. We have this where we have that pay-per-view stuff, but you got to pay.
You seen the planes? I never get tired of those planes coming in here. Did you get to see, check out this island at all, or?
No, only just the Shell Beach. That's all I've seen. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I've ever done. Yeah.
That's where all the tourists go. Right?
Yeah, I've not done anything else. I mean, it's.
So next time you come, I'll take you around a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be great, man.
Today I'll get in the basement and get some work done. I got to pick up my kid in 2 hours. So.
What do you do in your basement? Your web work and.
I have just set up a little office there.
Oh, okay, cool, man.
I have a few. I keep a few girls down there. I gotta feed them, I gotta feed them a little bit. It's been a few days, so I gotta get down there with some leftovers.
Some food.
No, I set up a little office there. It's just I got to do some stuff. You know.
No worries, yeah.
10 camps a year don't plan themselves. So.
Yeah.
Is that your boat?
Yeah, that's a small
That's
boat.
a small one, huh?
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, I know, man. That's totally embarrassing. I don't... Don't go there.
All right, let's see what we can find here. So here's the juice bar, formerly known as Tom's Juice Bar. And they used to have it, at least. I'm not on the acai craze.
You don't like it?
It's just ice cream, man.
Yeah, but it's I understand, but it's the ingredients inside.
It's sugar. The main ingredients is sugar.
But if the antibodies in there, that help
Yeah,
your body
of course.
with lines,
Oh, come on.
Sugar?
It's just sugar.
But it's good sugar or bad sugar?
It's bad sugar. All sugar is
No,
bad.
sugar's bad. But
Come on, you're just like craving sugar. That's it.
You just made
Of
me
course
such
you-
such a downer on acai. I don't-
Get it. You'll get a little bit closer to your pokeball if you eat it. Bonjour.
You have any acai? Yeah.
You know what my theory on acai is in jiu-jitsu? You know, a lot of like gringos go to Brazil to train.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there must be some guys in one of those tourist gyms that owned an acai place, and they're like, "Bro, my friend, you gotta try this. It's good, so good for your god."
Yeah, I think I fell for it.
And I hate it even more because, you know, the Europeans, biggest competition in the world, it's almost the only food you can get.
Yeah.
So you sit there for like 12 hours a day, you feel like absolute shit. And the only food they sell is fucking ice cream with granola. Perp.
Oh, man, Christian.
It's a pleasure.
Unbelievable. Thank
Oh,
you so
my
much, my
pleasure.
man. Really, really, really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for all the tips.
Anything you need, bro, let me know. I'll email you all those details and an itinerary and whatever you want. If you want
Yeah, sure.
anything.
I'll be here, so just let me know when you come next time.
Definitely. Awesome, man. Thank you so
Cool.
much. God bless.
Enjoy the ice cream.
Sugar.
See you, man. All right. Time to get home. Have some lunch. That was the visitor of the day. We don't get a lot of visitors here. I mean, there's a lot of tourists on the island, but I don't get a lot of jiu-jitsu visitors. So that was really nice. Good rolls. He had a really good game. Finally, someone with like really good wrestling. That's not something you find that often in the jiu-jitsu world. So I enjoyed that. All right, I'm gonna check out from this episode. Going home to get some lunch, get to the basement, do some work on one of the new Globetrotters projects, and then training again tonight. And hopefully, I will have some more visitors. If you ever want to come visit me here in St. Barth, you're most welcome. Obviously, we have the camps, but I welcome visitors all year round. So if you're in the area or just want to come over for training or sightseeing or a holiday, you're most welcome. I mean, it's fairly easy to get here from the US or from Europe. So any day, just let me know. We don't train a lot, but we do train. So a few times a week. So you're most welcome to come and catch me for a roll here. I'm pretty much always here when there are not Globetrotters camps. So that was Raymond visiting here in St. Barth about a month ago. If you want to know more about working on cruise ships, I recommend you check out his website. He's actually setting up a community that's pretty similar to what BJJ Globetrotters is doing for Jiu-Jitsu, but it's just for people working on cruise ships. So you can take a look at CREWLIFEATSEA.com. And there's also a Facebook group for people who work on cruise ships and who want to work on cruise ships. I think it's an interesting world that I personally knew nothing about until I met this guy, and been looking into it a little bit. And I think it's definitely interesting if it's something you have time for in your life. Anyway, his website has all the tools to help you apply for jobs on cruise ships, figure out which ones are good and bad, and there's a lot of good advice if that's a career you think you could go for. So check out CREWLIFEATSEA.com for his website. So for the question of the day from our Facebook group, members of BJJ Globetrotters, the question I picked for today was, can you tell about the process of moving to the Caribbean? Really quick, I grew up in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I lived there all of my life. And recently, about a year and a half ago, I managed to move to Saint Barth in the French West Indies, in the small island in the Caribbean that belongs to France. And the process of how it happened, people ask me all the time, why did you choose that island? And I actually didn't. I think, I know that the island kind of chose me. I didn't directly look for a place to move. Like, I didn't research it. I didn't look into places I could live or that I would like to live or anything like that. But what I did was I put a lot of effort into purposely kind of directing my life into a position where if any of these opportunities would present themselves, I would be ready to take them, and also into a position where I would kind of maximize the chance of me getting opportunities like this. So you can say I wasn't looking for it, but I prepared everything for it to come to me in one way or the other. Sometimes I feel like I was lucky, but on the other hand, I think there is zero luck involved in getting here. It was when I look back, I can see all the little every single little decision I made that eventually made this possible. I'm not even sure how to exactly describe this, but I think one thing that's important for things like these, at least that I found for my own life, is to in order for anything like this to happen, I must, as I talked about entrepreneurship, it's kind of the same thing, that nothing happens just from one day to the other. It's a long process of little things being done over a very long period, and that eventually leads to opportunities presenting themselves and you being ready to take them. And I think I made a decision several years ago that I was going to try to free myself a little bit more from being kind of chained to one location. I ran a gym I started having like an office job, and then I kind of moved over to running an academy full-time in Copenhagen for more than 15 years. And I don't remember exactly when. It was probably around when I was 30 or something, when I turned 30, probably a little midlife crisis there. I think that's like 6 years ago. I made a decision to kind of set myself up for doing something different. And so I started building a non-location based income source, which would eventually turn out, that was what I set my mind on, trying to figure out a way to build an income that's not depending on me being in one location. That kind of turned out to be BJJ Globetrotters by pretty much random chance. And also I tried to give up a lot of things. Like I really put a lot of focus into buying less things and owning less things, and not being kind of owned by my things instead of owning my things. I tried to cut down a lot on things I had, so I didn't have a lot of things that would keep me in the same place. Like I purposely didn't move to a bigger apartment, even though I could probably afford it. I didn't take any loans for anything. Didn't buy a big car or anything. Just lived a very simple life so that I could leave it at any time. I didn't have any obligations or like anything I had to pay off or anything. So if an opportunity presented itself, I would be ready to go. And one of the most difficult things to let go of was the academy I had in Denmark. I started that in 2003 as a blue belt together with a friend of mine, and we built it up from basically nothing. We were like 5 guys training to having more than 700 members at some point. It was wildly successful, and over the years, I realized it just became kind of another job I really enjoyed teaching all the time, but there's a lot of other things coming with running an academy, and it was probably the most difficult decision. One of the most difficult decisions I've ever made was to let go of it and sell my part in it. But the moment I made the decision, I also realized that was absolutely the right thing to do. It was such a relief to not have that burden anymore, and I just started showing up teaching just because I enjoyed it, and I just enjoyed being there. And there were no emails or accounting or any of that stuff to do. So letting go of the academy was really difficult, but I did it after 15 years, and it was a huge relief. Very, very good thing to do. I'm happy to see that it still runs really well back in Denmark, and I'm going to go visit in a month or so. So I let go of all these things and kind of started to build another income source and save up some money and not kind of chain myself to any big expenses or mortgages or anything like that. And parallel to that, I've been trying to always kind of, I think of it as planting little seeds of karma everywhere I go. You know, like every opportunity I get to do a little bit good for something, provide value for something that for someone, I will take it always. Obviously, the way you make money is to provide value for people, and then they return it with money or something else. But you don't always need the money for something. Value can be many things, and I think a lot about value as karma. And I don't mean karma in like a spiritual kind of way or something. It's more like if you do a lot of little good things, for a lot of favors, provide a lot of value all the time over the course of many, many years, just like tiny seeds of karma. It can be anything, just like say something nice or do something unexpectedly nice for someone or help someone with something without demanding anything in return. Like just a lot of tiny seeds of karma. Maybe you plant 10,000, maybe 9,990 are going to do nothing. But if just one of them grow into something big that might change your life or create an opportunity that you could grab and change everything in a different direction. And so that's what I always try to do. I'm not sure exactly where I got that from, but I always think of providing value for everyone. And sometimes you get money, but most of the times you don't. You just get something else, and that accumulates over years and years. And eventually something will stumble coming back to you from that. And I truly believe in that kind of butterfly effect of little good deeds done. And I think that's exactly how I ended up here. Or actually, I know that's exactly how I ended up here. Just a long process, many years of planting little seeds of karma, of good things. And eventually I see how it all kind of came together and provided me the opportunity of moving to a different country. Happened to be a nice island in the Caribbean. So that's what I did. I prepared everything. I prepared everything in my life for taking the opportunity if or when it kind of presented itself. And then I spent years and years of doing nice little things as much as I could. And I also it has to be genuine. You have to enjoy doing good things for others, and it's kind of practical karma, not spiritual karma. And so I think that's exactly what how I moved to the Caribbean. That's it. There's a lot of other things that happened from this kind of recipe that I try to follow, but that was like one of the things that came out of it, and I think it's very clear that's exactly what I did. I didn't sit down and look at I don't know. I don't even know where to start if I wanted to move to another country. I didn't sit and look at like apartments for rent and like I don't know. I have no idea what to research. So that was the approach I took. Prepare myself, get rid of everything as much as possible as I had that kept me in one place, and then do nice things, provide value for others through many years, and then just see what comes out of it. Yeah, so that's it. I think I'm gonna stick with that with that for this question. in a few days, I'll be off to the US camp in Maine, a place that I'm always very excited about going back to. Everybody always asks me, like, why did you pick Maine of all places? And again, I didn't really pick Maine. It was more like, I thought if I was going to do anything in the US, it would have to be different. I didn't really want to do like a city camp, because it's often the cities are kind of spread out, and I really think the social aspect of the camps and also the kind of travel aspect and taking you out of your daily comfort zone is really important for the experience. So I was just looking for a place that was in the middle of nowhere, and we found this great place in the forest in Maine. We did it in New Hampshire the first few years, and then moved to a better facility in Maine. So we upgraded a little bit this time. We're going to have as much mat space as in Belgium, which is a huge camp, and we're going to be 165 people this year. Very excited about it. I'm going to try to bring my microphone and see if I can catch a few interviews with some of the interesting people there. And that's it. That's it for this episode number 8 of the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio podcast. If you want to listen to any of the other episodes, just look it up on iTunes or whatever that app is called on your iPhone, or you can just go to bjjglobetrotters.com/podcast. You can find all the download links and all the episodes there. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will be looking forward to returning with episode 9 shortly. Have a nice day, and don't get injured.